All right. So, oh yeah, I want to order some Postmates. But, oh, I guess I'll do the video right now. What I want to talk about basically is some things I had a conversation on yesterday, but I was too sleepy to talk about, honestly. Um, I didn't. But the main thing I noticed personally was just like people were talking about a topic having to do with um, attraction and sexuality. And that's where it came up for me. I want to go back into the past with me and my um, different interests. I have never really talked about my actual sexuality or anything of that nature, mostly because for me, I generally identify as straight, and I feel honestly like it might be like I never talk about that part because it's seems a lot of people feel like it is rude to basically bring that up. I've learned that since I was a young girl. Like, I think I was 13, 14, 15. And people would know that's how I was. It was a really bad thing, basically. And the reason it's bad is because um, like I said in the past, you can't really help who you're attracted to, so you just can't help that. But yeah. Anyway, so for me, growing up, I've always felt like when I was a kid, I always just kind of like identified more straight because I felt like I liked men. When I was a child, I actually liked boys. I didn't like men, actually, honestly. I always liked people younger than me, like a year or two younger than me. So it was literally boys. Um, but point of the matter is I like the opposite sex, not females generally. And I mean, when I was younger, I was always, and I've always been attracted to the male sex. I've always been attracted to people based off of not really the masculinity of a person. Like I said in the past, I'm not really attracted to feminine energy. I mean, masculine energy. I'm more attracted to feminine energy. I can honestly, like emotionally, feminine energy and me is kind of like a yin and yang thing, while I'm kind of more like the yang in a sense. Um, so for me, I love feminine energy, but I do not like. I don't like, the female body really. And that's how and why I've always considered myself straight because to me it was always like, obviously if you don't like the female sex, then you're obviously straight. And I mean, as far as that goes, a lot of people have always like I've always been open about that part of my sexuality. Um and if I talk about it too much, I will let people know about the whole scope of the situation. And generally, they won't think I'm usually bi. They usually think they think I'm inconsiderate, basically, which I don't really know what to do about that. I mean, like, honestly, in my opinion, it's like, well, I can't really, like, help that side of my sexuality, really. So it is what it is. Um, but that's just always been my experience that people always kind of see it in a weird way. Um, so basically, the other day I was having a conversation on some people talking about like attraction to people who are trans and saying that like if you're attracted to transgender people, you must be bisexual or something of that nature. And to me, I thought at that time I was trying to explain, I I don't think people are specifically bisexual automatically if they are attracted to transgender people. But I just think that one has to pay attention to like a fact here. So, for example, if I am attracted to people who are trans men, for example, I'm attracted to a trans man, but you really think I'm not attracted to that person before they transitioned? Like, for example, so you think that I wouldn't be attracted to that person, like, so, like, for example, if I like men, for example, um, and I'm attracted to them as men, but I'm also attracted to trans men. To me, I'm like, well, if you're attracted to trans men, then before they transitioned, you had some type of attraction to them because they're the same individual. To me, I'm like, I don't think attraction just grows over time. So to me, I'm well, people always say they're attracted to the person as a man. To me, it's like, if that's the case, then you're basically saying you're only attracted to them with the surgery or whatever they did to make themselves look more male, but you're not really attracted to them beforehand. That it's to me, it's not really possible that you could naturally just only be attracted to them after surgery and things of that nature and hormones. I understand. To me, I think it would obviously mean that they'd have to be attracted to them on some level beforehand. I just don't think that any hormone or any surgery could really make you attracted to someone if you weren't already attracted to them in the first place. So, I mean, and you mean to tell me that just because this person, they're mentally male, that, yeah, I can understand like emotionally you're attracted to, men, but physically, this person is not biologically a physical man. So to me, I'm like, I don't see how that's really heterosexual in that sense. And when I say heterosexual, I'm saying the sexual part of it, the physical side of it, not the emotional side. I understand hetero-romantic is very different, but oh, hi, a pretty brown girl, Ari. How are you doing? But yeah, I understand that, the sexuality is different with romance, hetero-romantic rather than heterosexual. But I'm like, if you're physically attracted to someone who's biologically a female, that's where, to me, in my opinion, you obviously have some room in your sexuality that is more than heterosexuality. And I would say, honestly, it could go the other way as well. Personally, for me, I'm kind of like on the other side of that, where I'm attracted to men. I'm not attracted to cis women, and I'm not attracted to trans men, but I can be attracted to trans women sometimes. Now, honestly, when they have surgery to become women, it's almost like, if a man was to get rid of his penis and invert it, do you think I would not be attracted to him? Like, obviously, I would still be attracted to him. Just wouldn't like his stuff down there. Anyway, so anyway, for me, I kind of see it like this. Personally, I see it like romantically, emotionally, I can be attracted to either sex. But sexually, as far as physical, it's more like I can be attracted to just males. So then basically I'm sexually only attracted to men. But emotionally, it really doesn't matter in that sense. That's why I always say, for me, I am interested in the female energy. And not really the masculine energy. I generally prefer the feminine energy and kind of like a neutral energy and like a slightly masculine energy, but not an overly masculine energy. Masculinity is very different from virility. Virility has more to do with the biological sex, and that's different. I'm very much attracted to virility, but I'm saying as far as masculine um, gender expression, I'm not really attracted to that. So to me, I just like I that's what I was basically saying there in that discussion. I just kind of feel like people did not understand, or I was like maybe because my whole position in the situation is I understand a bit disregarding to some people, and I understand that it can be problematic for other people. But I did not mean to be in the sense of like offense or anything to those type of people. That's why I don't really talk about my sexuality in that regard. It's generally I don't bring it up. But like we were just bringing up the whole fact of like straight men and being attracted to transgender people, and I was just sharing my personal experience and personal preference. Oh, there's a comment. Pretty brown girl Ari. I don't like it when men are too feminine, but toxic masculinity is a thing. I don't know. I kind of like feel like I honestly like when men are feminine. I don't mind it. Like that's just me. Like I've always been into like very feminine men actually. When I was like young, I actually, to be completely honest, only liked the very feminine types of guys basically. Very feminine, maybe kind of like a neutral kind of like neutral, not very masculine, not very feminine, somewhere in between, maybe, or it may be slightly masculine, like I said. But generally, I it's just generally don't usually find masculine men attractive. But honestly, if we really think of it like on the bare minimum of things, I generally think that men who are more masculine, I can find attraction to if they have a good amount of virility, honestly. If they are someone I'm actually attracted to on the physical level, I can kind of ignore their energy in some cases. But some cases it's almost like they need something so feminine. Now I'm not a feminine girl, so then this is just it just doesn't work because I'm much more like a tomboy than anything. But oh, about toxic masculinity. I don't know. I just think people can be toxic, honestly. Um, so I don't have anything against people being masculine for that matter. I'm very fond of masculinity. It's just like I don't find it very sexually attractive. You have to understand, from my point of view, I am very masculine myself. So technically, I mean, like, I obviously won't have anything against masculine people. It's just like, it's not an opposite subtract sort of thing for me. Anyway, oh, there's another comment. Not to be transphobic, but I don't support men becoming women. I honestly just don't really care what other people do with their bodies. But I mean, like, it's their body, it's their choice. And I don't really make any judgment on what they do with their situation and things of that nature. But it's just like, I was just saying because somebody was bringing up how, you know, being attracted to trans men or trans women makes someone bisexual. I don't really think it makes people bisexual, honestly. I think it depends on what we're talking about, basically. Specific to, like, are we talking about being romantic? Are we talking about heterosexuality? Are we talking about people who are maybe already like maybe they are bisexual, but they're homoromantic, or they're homosexual, but they're also like biromantic or something. Like there's so many different levels to this that I don't really think it has anything, to do, like being attracted to transgender people really defines your sexuality. There's so much more to sexuality to actually know if someone's whatever their sexuality actually is, you'd have to have more information than to just assume just because they're attracted to transgender people, they're gay, they're bi, they're straight. Those assumptions can't be determined just by seeing who they're attracted to. Honestly, though, I have experienced it when I was younger. I would say things in that nature where I was um, kind of express that I had some kind of attraction to trans women and things of that nature. And people would always assume that I was what they would think is a gay man, which would be funny. But yeah, I mean, like people always assume different, like if you're attracted to one thing or a specific, you know, assumption that's associated with um oh, there's another comment. Pretty brown girl Ari. I don't like those type of men that can literally put a wig on and be mistaken as a woman. I've never seen an attractive transgender man. Transgender man? Transgender, are you saying a transgender man or transgender woman? Because like putting on a wig and being mistaken as a woman, that's a transgender woman. And I've never really seen an attractive transgender man either. I mean, I don't like personally. I can understand like some people are attractive actually. I mean, like I won't say like women are all ugly. You know what I mean? So like I've seen women that were pretty, and I've seen trans men that were, I guess, attractive. It's just like nothing that I really have a desire to act on. You know what I mean? Like like that's why to me I don't understand how a straight man could be attracted to trans women to me. My point of view, it just doesn't really make much sense there. Because, well, I mean, like, he could be hetero romantic, yes, but I mean, like, as far as heterosexual physically, does not make much sense to me because it's like, from my point of view, for trans men, it's almost like, well, why would I find trans men attractive just because they went through surgery and they have hormones? To me, that never made sense. It never, to me, was where trans men look like men, after all that. Sure they can look socially like a man. It's not like I would go down the street and just say, "Oh, hi, miss. How are you doing today?" or something like that. I wouldn't obviously mistake their gender, but I mean like that whole energy and that whole desire that men give off, I don't feel that from them. And I honestly, I'm not saying that from an ignorant place because I've actually been in many spaces where there were a lot of transmasculine people. Um, like I've honestly said in the past, for me personally, I've always been more on the masculine side, so I've always associated a lot with transmasculine people. So that might be why, for me personally, I just don't really, I guess, see an appeal because it's kind of like, well, I see eye to eye with them, I guess, to some extent. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, I mean, like, yeah, I get it now, actually. I don't want to say that other actually, but yeah, I get it now why I don't find them attractive. But I don't think that they are, like I said, ugly people. I think many people can be beautiful. Like I said, women can be beautiful, and just, you know, different people can be beautiful without being actually sexually attractive, really. But yeah, that's a main reason why I felt like in the discussion of whether straight, like men who like trans women are straight, to me, I just never understood it because it was just like, if you are attracted to them now as trans women who, live as women, then you would be attracted to these same individuals before they were trans women. Like I said, you can't just get a surgery and then have someone, attracted to you off of a surgery. That just never happens. You can't buy attraction. Like, you can't have plastic surgery to be attractive to people who weren't attracted to you beforehand. And I feel like, honestly, with a lot of men who are attracted to trans women, it's like kind of like, obviously when they are transitioned, because they're attracted to their feminine energy, it kind of like basically conformalizes their, what am I trying to say? Conforms, basically, their sexuality with, heteronormative um, standards, basically, where like basically, they are now seeing because they have a straight like a woman who looks like a woman, and that they're with. But I mean, in reality, what they really like, they like them either way, in my opinion. You can't, like I said, you can't be attracted to someone just off of a surgery. You just can't be attracted to someone that way. So to me, it's just like, that's why I feel like, well, you can't be just completely straight, really. Because if you were just straight, you wouldn't be attracted to these people who have the male sex. If you're straight, if you're heterosexual, sex is in that word, sexual, not gender, it's sex. um, you wouldn't be attracted to someone who is trans because they would not have a female sex. You're attracted to people of the opposite sex. The opposite sex is female sex. Trans women are not of the female sex. And I understand, like, personally for me, why I don't really like to talk about this is because when we talk about facts, it kind of triggers people, and I don't feel like triggering anyone, especially not them, because I mean, like, who really wants to be mean to them on this? So I mean, like to me, how I see it is we might as well just call them straight just to make everyone happy. But in my head, I do not see them as straight, really. I just see them as, well, they're attracted to someone who is, who was biologically and is biologically male. So, I mean, there's some room in their sexuality that is not just heterosexual. I would still consider them hetero romantic, maybe, if they're not attracted to men, mentally, emotionally. Oh, there's another post. Pretty brown girl Ari. Yes. Also, I don't like men who are attracted to trans women because there are some trans women that think they can replace and think they are that they are better than real women. Yeah, I know. I don't know. Like I find them just odd a bit in those regards. But I say that as a person who is more of a tomboy, so to me it's just like I don't know what's wrong with, I mean, I don't understand you, really. It's just like, because they're kind of like opposite to me. So I'm just like, I don't understand what you're doing and whatever's going on there. But I do think that men who are attracted to trans women, like, um, I think they should be like, obviously, I don't understand why they would think that that would replace anyone because most women wouldn't want to be with a man who does that, because it's kind of like, well, if you're attracted to that type of person, I think you should be more with people like that, rather than someone who is not, trans. Because if you look at a woman's body, and a trans woman's body, their bodies are very different, like the bone structure and everything. I've been around a lot of transgender people, trans men and trans women, and like one telltale sign you could tell who was what without speaking to them or anything, just let them turn around, basically. They all have the body shape of whatever biological sex they come from. So, for example, if you're a trans man, and this would always trigger me because I'd always see, that even though they have the hormones and everything, it just didn't change anything enough for that. But you would still see that they had like their shoulders and their hips and their waist area was still either female or male, whatever they were born. Like it was still the same structures there, basically. And I mean, to me, it's just like obviously a woman who is built more delicately and she's, she has more like hips, narrow shoulders, things of that nature. You get what I'm saying? Obviously, you're gonna feel like if he prefers that, he prefers more of a male build and male features, sex features, I'm saying, then why would he be with her? Why would he be with a cis woman? You know, to me, that's why, to me, it just never really made sense why people would want those things to interchange like that, like straight men and men who are with trans women. I don't see anything against either types of people being with anyone. To me, with, I agree with, people choosing to do what they want with their lives if it makes them happy, finding the right person and all that. But to me, I just don't think it's really conducive to straight relationships really to have these type of men kind of like interchangeably with trans women and cis women. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. And personally, as a person who was born female, I would never want to date a man that was with trans women. It just like like I said, I would prefer someone who actually likes cis women more than any other type of people, trans women, trans men for that matter, even um, cis men, etc. Oh, there is another comment. Pretty brown girl Ari. You cannot have babies with trans women, and trans women are usually overly sexual. Trans women still look really masculine and they still have masculine voices. Trans women don't even act feminine. I don't know, like, honestly, I do think, yes, they do look masculine. And to me, their voices, to be honest, their voices do sound masculine, but there's more to it. They actually talk a certain way that's faster. You see, men actually speak faster than women. And for whatever reason, if you listen, it's even really weirder because gay men speak faster than straight men, usually, from what I've noticed. Not always, but sometimes they speak faster. But trans women, they definitely speak faster than women do, cis women do. And I think they kind of do speak a little bit faster than straight men. But yeah, I've heard some that sound feminine or they sound like women, but the way they use their words is all off. It's almost like to me they kind of need a vocabulary class or something, like a way to to basically like train them to talk a little bit slower, a little bit more like a woman, you know. And I mean that in no mean way, honestly, because I mean, like, I think, like, if they want to, pass as women, good for them, whatever. I mean, whatever helps them. Because I mean, like, some of the people that I've interacted with that were trans, they seem like they had no other option. Like, they felt like they were suicidal or something like that. And I mean, like, whatever you need to do to not kill yourself, please do it. So I do not hold anything against transgender people who do what they need to do to survive. But I'm just saying, like, you can tell basically, some differences. And I mean, like, honestly, if we really wanted to be honest with them, I mean, it would probably, I guess, help them not to be, clucked so easily, because they could just, tweak a few things. But I mean, like, as far as certain things, they'll always be clogged probably, because, like, bowel structure wise, those things actually can't be fixed through hormones usually, unless they're younger. If they've gotten hormones really young. But usually, if they, the average transgender person actually has had all their development in those regards. So they generally still look, like what they were born. And as far as, being, and that's the thing where I have to say I kind of disagree though with, I'm sorry, because, like, I don't know, like, for me personally, I'm not very feminine, and I think some women just aren't feminine. So I mean, like, I don't really think being feminine really has to do with being a woman, really. To me, honestly, what being a woman was, and has always been about, just having, female parts, basically. But not really about the whole acting feminine or not being overly sexual. Like, I myself, I'm so overly sexual, and I am pretty masculine, honestly. I'm definitely a woman. I used to be sad about that though. Anyway, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, so this is XOXO. Have you ever been with a woman? No. Me? Why would I be with a woman? No, I would never be with a woman. I'm not attracted to women. That's the thing. Like I said, I'm not attracted to cis women at all. I don't like the physique. I just don't like anything about, women really physically. But I was, if you're talking about earlier, I'm just addressing a part where people were talking about straight men who were attracted to trans women. And to me, like I was just pointing out, to me, I didn't really get how someone could be, attracted to someone who was, a man in the past and say that they aren't attracted to men when before they transitioned they were biologically men, and they were physically, you could see a man. So I don't see how they really say that they aren't attracted to men when they were attracted to men. Now, they were attracted to a man with female energy, feminine energy, someone who is mentally female, things like that. So that's why, to me, I consider them still hetero-romantic, but I do not consider them really heterosexual, really. So that's what I was saying there. I was pointing out that for me personally, how I am, I'm kind of like the type where I can find anyone who's of the male sex basically attractive. So that includes actually trans women. And that's because for me, when it comes to emotional attraction, I can be attracted to anything, basically, anyone. But like I said, with cis women, I'm not attracted to cis women because of their physique. That's the whole problem. It's just that they're physically female. So then, since their sex is female, I'm not attracted to them. And if you think of that, it still kind of falls under the idea of heterosexuality because it's the opposite sex. And, technically trans women are still the opposite sex. So that's why for me, I was pointing out in that conversation I was having that I did not understand um, how someone could be attracted to trans women and not consider themselves bisexual. You know, to me, I thought if you're attracted to women, cis women, and trans women, then to me, you're bisexual in some sense because you are attracted to two different sexes. Trans women are not the same sex as cis women. And like I said, I don't feel like talking to transgender people about that. There's no point in me talking to a transgender person about this. It's just me. But I'm saying if we're talking about facts and truth here, then yes, I do think that those are two different sexes. Therefore, they're attracted to two different sexes. So, yeah. Oh, and Pretty Brown Girls, Ari said, yes, I agree. XOXO says, I'm bisexual and had a trans woman who looked like a man. Also, her boyfriend get mad at me for not wanting to sleep with him. Oh, oh, huh, that's different. So they were like swingers or something? That's weird. I mean, like they're not monogamous or something like that. I think that would be weird. Maybe her boyfriend prefers, because this does happen. Some people who are attracted to trans women, they still prefer cis women. I remember watching that on, I think, I think it's that conservative trans girls channel, I think. I'm not sure. But and sometimes when that happens, they want to, be with a cis woman. So sometimes, they might get upset because, he's with her, but, he still needs his, I guess, his, you know, side that actually does like cis women to be satisfied, basically. And I've heard of stories where like trans women will complain because their man was with a cis woman. But what I always wondered was that why didn't you just tell that cis woman that you were trans so that she wouldn't do that? Like she wouldn't want to be with your man if she knew, you know? Like that's who I felt sorry for at the end of the day. Oh, I see another comment. Pretty brown girl Ari. I'm sexual and want to dress more sexual, but I also want to dress more feminine. Feminine and sexy at the same time is my ideal taste in clothing, and I want to behave that way too. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are like that. I don't even really know what feminine is, honestly. Like I said, I'm a tomboy at best, so I'm very masculine. I don't really pay attention to styles or dressing or things of that nature. But I did have an ex roommate that gave me a lot of clothing that were kind of like feminine because of her profession. And sometimes wear some of those kind of outfits because they were pretty nice. They were like nice name brands and all this stuff. So honestly, with what I dress as, when I was like younger, I always preferred dressing more masculine, but I mean, still like, oh, I think this has actually to do more with my sexuality, honestly, because like sometimes I actually like to dress very, very, very like I guess revealing, so to speak, and that's when like I'm the most, I guess, feminine. But generally, I don't generally like dress very feminine, honestly. I'm kind of like just really tomboyish. it sucks. Like on dates and stuff, I have to try and like search and search and search for something like really feminine to wear because I'm always my outfits are just always more on the masculine side. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say in this video basically was I just don't really, I'm not trying to offend anyone or try to say, trans women aren't, real women or anything of that nature, really. I just think trans women are what they are, honestly. I don't think of them as not women. I just think they're women in their own way, basically. So, like, obviously women don't have to take hormones to be, biologically female or to appear female, basically. And, there's physical differences here. But I do not try and dismiss, the way they feel mentally. I totally understand how they feel mentally, honestly. Um, but at the same time, that doesn't really change people's sexuality, in my opinion. And I feel like often with transgender people that they want to feel like they belong to the heterosexual community and the homosexual community as well. When they are homosexual and heterosexual in their communities. So, if you're a homosexual trans woman or a heterosexual trans woman, you want to be seen, as a lesbian or a straight woman. And it's understandable because of how they are, who they are deep down, is a straight woman, is a lesbian woman. It's just physically that doesn't apply, basically. And, for other people who are into them, to me, the physical side of it still exists, it's still there. And it's still a fact, even if the emotional side of it, they are still women, they're still physically not. And so if you're attracted to someone who is physically not a female, then you, to me, aren't just straight. And honestly, I mean, I think that, like I said, with the whole fact of, they're just a trans woman can look like anything before they transitioned. One thing they can't look like is a woman. So they can look like anything that's a man beforehand. And I mean, like, you really mean to tell me that if someone looks like Shemar Moore or like uh, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Or like a Robert Pattinson. I could not think of someone else. Sorry. That if they transition and people are attracted to them as women, that they were not attracted to them as men when they quite clearly look like men. Like, to me, I'm like, you're not paying attention to who they were beforehand. They were just as masculine and manly as those people before they transitioned. So, I mean, like, physically, it is what it is. And I mean, like, you're not gonna just earn your attraction to someone over plastic surgery. It's just impossible to do that. So yeah, that's all I have to say on this, and I will end this video. Thanks for listening.